never do any prep or any of that for any of his interviews. It was kind of his style. He said he always wanted to learn during the during the interview.
I like that.
I know it's kind of my style.
Actually, it's more. I like it. It's more.
We in the green room, Don?
I might be able to tell. I might not be able to.
AT&T network's down. I don't know what.
Oh, is that right? Things are down.
I'm on T-Mobile.
No, the fragility of the world right now.
He's down like all morning. He said.
No, I heard that actually. Yeah.
It's crazy.
It's showing that we're live streaming.
Okay,
but I'm not sure yet.
All right. Well, we'll assume that we are in the green room.
Should we assume it? What do you think, Dawn? Yes,
you know what they used to say in the ER, when you assume we make an ass out of you and me.
We're good.
We're good. All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Green Room. And today we're so excited. We have a whole bunch of people from Flowery.
Listen, it's been a while since we've had multi-guests in the Green Room. It's great. And what are we now? It's like episode 168 or something. I think it's behind here or something like that.
Yeah. It says episode 168. You guys have been at it for a minute or two.
And you're a repeat visitor, Josephine. But no, listen, we're so excited this week to have representatives of the Flowery here with us. And
so I will let you guys introduce yourselves, so it's a little bit easier on us. So,
I know.
Josephine, why don't you take the lead, since we know you best out of here, or at least I do. So take the lead on who you guys all are and introduce yourselves to our audience.
Sure. So I'm Josephine Canella-Crail. I'm a licensed clinical social worker. My background is in substance abuse therapy, as well as in hospice care with critically, chronically, and terminally ill patients. That's how cannabis therapeutics got on my radar to begin with. Once upon a time, over a decade ago, I started talking to my patients about cannabis and how it could help them. And they started telling me that they were secretly using marijuana for symptom control, but they had to do it undercover because it was against the law. So
great point. Years of work for this lady, everybody, and an OG in the space who I have no problems with crediting Josephine with really, and I thank her for this, helping me enter the space. Patty as well, my lovely wife. She's been a longtime friend, and she just needs that shout out. She's been in Tallahassee. She's been working for us long before medical cannabis came to Florida. And what she points out, it was her personal experience and other aspects of healthcare that really led her to her passion. So I didn't want to step on you.
So
but if I didn't give you credit for what you've done, then that wouldn't be fair.
Fast forward to today, I work in clinical community and physician relations for the Flowery, one of Florida's, dare I say it, Florida's premier medical cannabis growers and dispensary. We pride ourselves on growing cannabis indoor with love. And I'm not just saying that because I work for the Flowery. I work for the Flowery because that is a true statement. So
I can't wait to get Steph's story about the Flowery and how special they are.
I'm kind of the public, one of the public faces of the Flowery, but I'm super excited to have our VP of Sales and Marketing, Steph Frohock, and our Director of Retail and Dispensaries, Ilya Schmidt. They are more behind the scenes, and they truly drive making the magic happen for Florida's patients. So thank you.
It's such an important conversation because we've been watching Tallahassee, seeing the discussion of the cannabis space in Florida, which is split right now, between what we call the gray market hemp side, the legacy market, black market side, and of course the legitimate medical cannabis side. And we're so proud, Steph, to have you here today to talk about, your veteran based and family owned, company that has really brought special medicine here to the patients of Florida. So great to have you.
Thank you.
Great to see you again.
Thank you. My name is Steph Frohock. I am the VP of Marketing and Sales, as well as one of the partners. Where the company all started from was you had to be in the nursery business for 30 years, and my family has been in the nursery business for well over 40. But it's not just about my family. Truly, the Flowery, we call each other Flowery fam, and whether you're by blood or you're not, Josephine is definitely, and so Zelia, part of our family. And there's a bigger, I really think this is a movement, and we all have to come together. You talk a lot about legislative, which I know nothing about, but that's what Josephine's here for. But it's something that we all have a common interest of this beautiful plant and saving people's lives and making a difference. And I've run everything from customer service to marketing, and heard so many patients, and I've cried on the phone listening to some of these patients' stories. So it's been a beautiful thing, and to see Ilya grow all of these stores in such a magical way, and you could go into every one of our stores, and I think company culture means so much, not only to myself but also to our Flowery family members. And you can go into any of our stores and you have the same look, feel, and even the people that are behind the scenes as well, that you could tell. And Ilya has done such a good job at keeping that company culture so positive, and the people that he's hiring and all of that. So Ilya, go ahead. I'm very excited to have him as well.
Well, we can't wait for you to come to Venice, and we'll get to that in a moment. But I want to back up for a moment, because I know there's a personal family side, to how you guys got into the cannabis, space, and how you've treated it with respect. And I want to give the Flowery a shout out as, one of those that got a license and didn't flip it,
Yeah.
and made the decision to do it right, start. Somehow I've heard the term start low, go slow somewhere in the cannabis space, and it pertains typically to how we introduce our new patients to cannabis. But I like to say that, and I credit you guys for that. You've taken your time, you developed your products, and I remember when we were going to be Flowery number 3, but now I'm proud to say, and I love the number 8. So Flowery number 8 sounds great as well, and we'll get to the retail side of it. But back up and tell your family story, if you don't mind, because I really want our viewers to know from where you come, and I apologize if I hit you on the personal side that way, but I know it's an important part of the Flowery story.
No, absolutely. So I have 3 brothers. Everybody was in the nursery business. I said it just wasn't for me, so I actually went in the wine and spirits industry for many years, and moved away. And my brother was in Iraq for 2 tours. It really did a number on him, mentally and even physically. And he was the one that was really the driving factor of wanting to do this. My other brothers have a very successful nursery business. To them, it didn't seem achievable. So he was the one that had the passion for it. And then when he passed away, that was something that our whole family came together, and I joined the company. And we not only doing it for him, but also for his other brothers and sisters in the military. And that's why, even no matter what our focus is, we have amazing partners, and has a vision a lot. Our CEO has been our partner from the very beginning. He also really believed in the plant and taking us from a small company to what it is today and in the future as well. His vision is just, he had a vision beyond what we even had. So that's been amazing, but we will always have a veteran side. We have Brandon, who's a Purple Heart veteran, who does all of our veteran type events, getting veteran cards for veterans that can't afford it. Him and Josephine were up at the Capitol trying to get at least the state to not charge veterans for their cards. So overall, like I said, our partners, everyone in our company, that this passion is just unbelievable. It's such a beautiful thing to see, truly.
I appreciate, hearing all aspects of that story. And listen, we're going to generate, or may I say degenerate, into our political discussion later on. Josephine and I laughed about it a couple of days ago, because there's so much going on in Tallahassee right now. And I'll be honest with you, I've kind of lost track of the veterans bill, Josephine. I know, I see the head shake. And we thought that was the lowest hanging fruit this year. If anything that was going to get done for the benefit of the patients, I mean, at least we figured maybe that would happen, but somewhere and somehow it's died. But let's go to the good side and talk about Venice. I know. Let's talk about the good side in Venice. And we're so excited to have a new dispensary and coming to Venice, and the Flowery, of course, amongst the best of the dispensaries in Florida. So Ilya, welcome. Tell us about the Venice location and what's going on. And we're so excited about it.
And about
Thanks.
you, Ilya, tell us a little
Yes,
about
about
you.
you.
I'll just real quick about me. I'm the director of retail ops, and I dabble in some sales as well. I come from the California market. I lived there my whole life. I was an owner and operator for 10 years in California, medical and rec. And I loved what the Flowery was doing out here, and with Steph and her family, and our CEO. And I came out here to check out the operation, and I just fell in love with it. And fell in love with Florida, and felt that there was a good synergy. And I moved out here to open our first store, and now we're on store number 9 technically, if you count New York, which we just opened last month.
So when do you foresee the Venice store opening? You guys have a date?
Our target date is March 16th, which is the middle of the month, right on a Saturday. So hopefully we get to do a soft opening a few days before then, just to make sure our operations are good to go, and then we'll do one of our big blowout celebrations on Saturday.
No, we can't wait. Just update to everybody, and not everybody's from Venice, but it's right on Route 41, right in the old Metal Mel's Diner building next to Carrabba's and everything. Great location. Can't wait for people to drive down 41 right in the heart of Venice and see what's going on and listen. We're really excited about it. But Ilya, I want to take advantage of your California experience, and I didn't know that, but I'm intrigued by it, and it's going to morph into where we're going with the convo, because huge debate in Florida right now about the entire cannabis space. And we've talked about it on past green rooms. Last week, we had Eric Sarkisian, insider Politico, and he really gave us a lot of updates on what's going on. But the non-regulated cannabinoid space, is interesting right now. But of course, they're also discussing legal adult use up in Tallahassee and what they're going to do with legal adult use. And they're already discussing proposed THC flower caps and things like that. But I'm intrigued about your California experience. And I think, quite frankly, we need you here in Florida to advise us on what to do to best preserve medical, right? And the relevance of medical, the quality of medical, as we go forward. And I know there's been some significant bumps in the road, not only in Cali, but in many other states that have gone from medical to legal adult use. And we're all trying to make sure that our patients are protected.
What do you see? What did you see?
Working not only in California, but also in New York now in their rec market, I've learned a lot of what I don't like versus what I do like. I'll tell you that. There is a lot of benefits to it being medical, and having no taxes and things like that for our patients. I think once it becomes recreational, there's a little bit of a disconnect of understanding what people should be able to purchase, not in terms of their allotments. That becomes an issue. And also, the state tracking becomes a huge undertaking. I know that right now in Florida, we are going to move over to BioTrack pretty soon, and that is having a big impact on a lot of dispensaries, I'm sure, on the back end. In California, I came from Metric, where we moved from medicinal to recreational, and that was a big undertaking as well. So I do think we are at the first stages there, and the first stage is moving over to BioTrack. So I could see that kind of being the first step. I'm not sure what it's going to look like here if it does go recreational, if there'll be a cap on the number of stores, if there's going to be a cap on THC, as we've seen on the ballots recently. So, I do like to tell a lot of people, let's be thankful. We do have right now in Florida, because once states decide to go, once states tend to go recreational, they do it very quickly, and they don't look out to other states and what they've done properly and not properly. So I think taking that time to really reflect on what works and what doesn't work is very important. So I really hope that we could see that from the regulators here in Florida. Oh yeah, no, it's my current joke. You can spell rec, REC, or WRECK.
I have a quick question. So what do you guys foresee, especially staff, because you're more on the visionary of the business side too. So what do you foresee, should the Florida voters decide to go recreational? there probably will be two sides of the house, probably one that's medicinal and one that is rec. Is it a huge undertaking for you guys to start separating out even products and labeling perhaps and all of that? Because that sounds like it might be a huge undertaking for any company.
Yes.
I mean, I think
we haven't even started, but yes, I mean, and we have quite a few partner brands, even though the state has extremely ridiculous rules on packaging or lack thereof. We still try to bring some of those brands' essence to our products so that they don't feel like they're just getting just ours as well. So we have a large variety of different types of packaging. So yes, it will not be easy, but I mean, this whole project, there's no instructions or anything like that. And this is a very interesting market and industry in the sense of like we do it all. And not because we necessarily asked to do it all, it's what we're required to do. So it's very hard to be great at everything. And I think we've done a phenomenal job of delivery, retail, production, distribution, marketing. I mean, we literally do everything. And we've done a really good job. So I'm sure there'll be challenges, but everyone in our company is always up for challenges, and we always seem to figure it out, whether it's in the ninth hour or not. But I'm not concerned. It's just it'll just be more work, and we'll figure it out.
And I think it'll depend on what they roll it out to look like, right? So, I mean, we're already seeing in Tallahassee, there's a preemptive legislative bill in play talking about placing caps on flour and different products before we even have an adult use market. So, what that tells me is our lawmakers are not, they've shifted from their thinking of if adult use happens to when adult use happens, which is what we've been telling them all along.
They're going to fight it. You know they're going to fight it, Josephine. Listen, Josephine is one of the, if there's 100 people in the state, and I mean it, that watches every hearing about cannabis up in Florida, thanks to the Florida channel. There's 3 of them here somehow. I don't know. No, I'm kidding, but I'm not. But Josephine, listen, there's so few people that can speak to the intelligent nature of what's going on up there. We had Eric on last week, Eric Sarkisian, also somebody that watches every hearing. And Josephine's another one of them. That's why, you know, I'm so interested to hear what your impressions are of what you've been seeing. Because medical, fortunately, and we sent out a MailChimp, or we're going to today or whatever, about it to our existing and past patients to let them know that right now in the state of Florida, medical is being held up as the pinnacle of the pinnacle, protected, hopefully, as we go forward, of the access to cannabinoids in Florida. And that's why I love organizations like the Flowery coming into Venice so that we can continue to offer the quality of product that my patients deserve.
Quality and choice. Like I think
quality and choice.
I'm super excited about us coming into Venice. Just for our listeners, our address in Venice is 1763 Tamiami Trail. We are nestled between Three Bridges Brewery and Cannabis. And if you pay attention, and I know that you do, Doc, we had to fight for access into the Venice market. Yeah. Once upon a time, when we put in our request to open our dispensary, it's been gotta be a year and a half ago now, we were initially denied at the county level. So I like to remind my colleagues, because like we all work in cannabis, right? And it's so normal and everybody's on board and everybody's a proponent. Nay, nay, nay. The majority of people, one, still don't even know that we have a legal medical cannabis program. And 2, the fear mongering is very real and it's very alive. And it's frustrating to me because now we have the science that has caught up to what humans have known intuitively for thousands of years, that this plant really can help to regulate the body's system and can help to save human lives. But, so that's why, I mean, to me, Venice is super exciting because we were denied. We came back on appeal. We had members of the public elder care communities. We had a veteran mom who came out and testified that, people deserve safe and, most importantly, legal access to this plant. So for me, Venice is super exciting because we literally had to fight for it.
Oh yeah, for sure. And it's going to be awesome. No, listen, the victories come with persistence, with continued effort, honesty, integrity. We're going to continue to play the role of safety, education. What's going to be interesting to me is, and listen, I don't think there's any guarantees necessarily that legal adult use is going to pass. If you're watching Tallahassee this year, the fear mongering this year was it was the worst that I've seen, quite frankly, I think ever in public hearings up there. Discussion of deaths. There was an absolutely horrible thing entered into the record. Representative Gregory talked about the FAMU study with 269 or 300 whatever deaths attributed to cannabis. No, these were deaths where cannabis were found in the system from an auto accident, from a this, from that, other multi-drug overdoses. I mean, it was really, really bad. So my point is, as we go forward, I mean, there's going to be tons of roles to play. It really hurt for me not to be in Tallahassee this year, Josephine. The only doctor that spoke in Tallahassee this year was this emergency physician who I've never seen, who was in more than one hearing, a white-haired kind of gal and whatever, who spoke to the disaster in the ERs of cannabis. I will say this, and it's very important. We talked about it on the doctor meeting last night. Cannabis in 2024 will have an impact in the ER because the products are different. There are edibles out there. There are concentrates out there. We have to respect the products that are out there. But there's a backlash. Listen, each and every one of those Republican, and I hate to get, I guess we do in the green room all the time. No, seriously, they're going to work against legal adult use. You have to know that. Representative Gregory, he wants to cap literally everything. They're going to work hard against legal adult use. Ohio only had 58% when they passed theirs, back in November. And everybody assumes Florida's going to be an easy pass. Ilya, I'd be interested in your opinion on this. We have medical patients that are literally, they tell me every day, they're going to vote against legal adult use because they're afraid of losing their access to their products. They like the way things are. They think people should have to take some responsibility, take some education, learn about the safety of cannabis, learn how to best use it. Have you seen that in other, locales? Listen, and you mentioned New York. New York's a mess. New York's a mess yesterday. New York's going to be a mess tomorrow when it comes to their rollout. So you can't assume that just because you're a conservative or a liberal state that the rollout's going to go appropriately.
Yeah, I think a large issue is people get so excited to see it on the ballot that they don't really look at the details behind it. They just want to see, recreational cannabis, I'm for it, but they don't actually look at everything that goes along with it. They don't look at the caps of THC. They don't look at the number of the dispensaries. They don't look at at the taxes. Factors like these are very important when you're making that migration to recreational. So it's really important for our representatives to be very thoughtful about their approach to legalizing it. I would rather do it the
problem. That's the problem. We don't trust them. We know better.
Exactly. So it's up to
people
like you. Yeah, it's up to people like you and Josephine to really get out there and let people know what should not only be on the ballot, but also like, what are you voting for?
Yeah, what are you voting for?
These factors are very important.
One of the biggest things that I think for a patient's fear is there's already some complaints constantly about product availability for patients because they get used to a product, it's working for them, and the next thing you know, they go there and it's not there. Now, if you're adding rec on top of that, you're just taking more products away from the medical side. So I think that's going to be a true fear amongst a lot of patients, is access to actually their medicine and not just recreational use of the plant, but because people do use it medicinally. And for them, I think there is a big fear that it might go away. Did you have any of that kind of experience in California at all, where there was a product shortage at all for patients?
I wouldn't say as much of a product shortage, but a difficulty, with getting your medical product, because this the way that you get a medical card in California is there's two types. There's the simple medical where you go to a doctor and you get your rec, and then there's the you submit your doctor's rec to the state, and they give you a state card. So the percentage changes from 15% tax to 5% tax if you're fully state medical. If you're local medical, you're 15, and if you're recreational, I think now at this point it's like probably closer to 30 out there. It's gotten pretty. It's gone off the rails.
Yeah, I mean, there's three hallmarks to protecting medical. It's keeping our taxes at zero, keeping our quality superior, and keeping our quantity appropriate, you know? And that's interesting to me that we haven't heard in Tallahassee, and I'd be interested in your opinion on this, Josephine. Why haven't we heard anybody talk about the presumed tax rate? Why haven't we heard anybody talk about a quantity or a quantity cap on how much the citizens can be allowed to purchase? I know there's a possession limit, but how much per day? You know, I think that the quantity caps are going to be key, because in my vision, quantity is always going to have to come in what the medical patients allowed under. You know, Eric Sarkisian disagreed last week and said he didn't believe there was going to be any quantity caps.
It's already written into the constitutional amendment, quantity caps. So I mean, we know that's going to happen unequivocally in the adult use market. And that kind of speaks to what Ilya was saying, is like, people see, oh, legalizing adult use cannabis, yes, I'm for it. But when you go in and you read it like we're accustomed to doing with legislation, right? Line item by line item, as opposed to just reading that little abstract that makes it onto the ballot, you start to understand, you know, what are the pros and what are the cons. And personally, you know, I've been saying it from the beginning, but for some reason they don't listen to me. You know, I wish that it could be handled legislatively, because I'm not really a fan of mucking with our Constitution. And I'm not really a fan of writing these kinds of things into the Constitution, because then if you want to change it, you have to go back to the beginning again. You have to have a new petition. You have to get another 900,000 signatures before it will be considered to be put on the ballot. If we could be proactive, and if legislators could roll out adult use legislatively, then we can come back year after year and tweak statutory law. You know, before I started working in the legislature, I didn't really understand the difference between constitutional law and statutory law. And I think the majority of Floridians, to no fault of their own, because again, I was right there, don't understand those nuanced differences. And I think we have the opportunity to do it right. And my biggest disappointment with what's happening in Tallahassee is I don't see them doing it right, unfortunately. So we make the best of what we can within the framework that we're given. And I think the Flowery is supremely superb at doing that, and really paying attention to what do patients who are consumers. I will always remind people, you know, you're a consumer, and you can respectfully request what you want and what works best for you. And I think that's one of my other favorite things about the Flowery, is we listen to the people that we serve, and then we course correct to give people what they want. And
I'm so glad you said that, because there is a difference between MMTCs, how they grow their flower, how they cure their flower, how they treat their flower. You know, as we go forward, and, you know, listen, the green room goes so fast, everybody. So we're almost at the top of the hour. As we go forward, you know, it brings up certain things that can once again separate out medical, okay, from legal adult use. Maybe if you're a medical patient, you could contract with the Flowery, okay, to grow your own plant. Wouldn't that be something? Okay, my cultivar, my way, in conjunction with the Flowery, right? Maybe you wouldn't be able to do that if you were legal adult use. Everybody wants home grow, but you can't do it like the Flowery. you know. So my point is we need to be creative and work together, you know, as the pinnacle of cannabis in Florida right now, which is, you know, it's interesting too. And I guess one more question, I think, for Ilya, maybe people that are coming into the dispensaries. What are you going to do with little old Doobie One patients that are coming in now under, you know, patients that have never used cannabis? What are you going to do when they walk in now under legal adult use, never having used a cannabis product in their life? You know, looking for various reasons to use it, be it sleep, be it pain, you know, be it this. There's going to be entire educational arm
And
that's going to need, absolutely,
huge liability issues.
Yeah, one thing.
So legal, so for me, it's like liability.
Right.
Yeah, one thing that we really hang our hat on at the Flowery is the education for our bud tenders and for our staff members. If one of my mantras for our staff is, I don't want. We don't want any patient walking in knowing more about cannabis than we do. That is number one. So we make sure that we are as educated as possible. We have a very meticulous education platform that we make sure that everybody stays up.
Now that you're coming to Venice, that bar is going to be raised because we educate each and every one of our patients. I mean it, on the endocannabinoid system, THC, CBD, the other. That doesn't mean they all take it in on that first visit, but we do, man. So welcome to Venice.
Challenge accepted. Yes. Another thing that I also like to mention is, here at the Flowery, we offer a better class of product. It's much more reliable, and from the Flowery is going to be top quality, whether it's, sublinguals or whether it's inhalation or flower. So, our patients normally are understanding of that, and they're willing to pay to pay those maybe like slightly higher prices than other places. But, that comes with the quality. And with that, usually the quality of patients that understand that they're already a little bit educated when they are coming into the Flowery. So we are lucky in that aspect. But it's really not only knowing the behind the flower, it's knowing the brands that we carry and knowing the extraction processes behind a lot of our concentrates and why what the differentiators are between our product and other brands' products. I think is really important as well.
Yeah, it's a great point. There's a discriminatory patient that goes to the Flowery, just like we think that patients in the know come to Compassionate Cannabis Clinic. You know what I mean? And it's not a matter of the least expensive of products, but the highest quality.
Exactly.
And
consistency and all of it. So we can't wait for you guys to
consistency, knowledge. I mean, I'm so happy to hear that your bud tenders are educated on cannabis, because I have to say, I don't think every single MMTC may not be at a certain level on that, and some give some misinformation out sometimes. So I'm so happy that is going to be the bar for hopefully this area as well.
We look forward to hosting you in the clinic, of course, when you're local. And Steph, I know you'll be, in hopefully for the grand opening. And listen, we can't wait. And,
so keep us posted on the date, because then we can throw it up on our Facebook page so patients can go out and make sure that they go out to the opening and give you guys some support.
I will definitely keep you all posted. We're also going to get you all some postcards, opening soon postcards that we hope you can keep in your clinic and pass out to patients, letting them know that we're coming to town. And I just want to close with saying, at the Flowery, really our hallmark is cannabis, culture, and community. All three of those come together, and we really focus and pride ourselves on the majority of our employees are patients too. So, we understand as a company culture the importance of the highest quality products that people will put in and on their bodies. And, I just think that's a beautiful thing. So thank you for hosting us today. It's always a pleasure chatting with you.
We wish you amazing success in Venice and across the state as we go forward. It's awesome. Like I said, more competition, more dispensaries, more choice for patients. It's fantastic. And when you bring a high quality product to the table, even better. So thank you guys for joining us, and
we'll see you soon.
We'll see everyone next week.
Have a good morning.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, guys.
Bye-bye.
See you next week in the green.